everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rhiannon and today I'm going to be showing you guys all of the unread books that I have on my Kindle. I have actually had a Kindle now for years. Before this one I did have the first ever model that came out, but recently for Christmas Tom did buy me this newer one because the old one was just playing up a bit and I think it was past its time. I believe that this one is the Amazon Fire HD Kindle, and to be honest it is more of a tablet type of thing than your standard Kindle. Over the years I've collected a lot of books on my Kindle and to be honest I barely read any of them, but since having this newer one I have actually made it a priority to read some more books on here and I do really enjoy doing that. I think it's so easy to forget about the books on your Kindle because obviously, as you see behind me, I do have a lot of physical books, and so if I'm in the mood to read something I will look at my shelves and pick something out. I'm not automatically drawn to look at my Kindle, but I have recently signed up to Kindle Unlimited and I do also keep an eye out on the 99p deals as well, and so because of that I have actually got a lot of books on here that I'm very excited to get to, and like I said I have been making it a priority to try and read books off of my Kindle this year. I do believe that I have 16 unread books on here, so I'm not going to talk too in depth about each book because this video would be way too long, but if you do want to know which books are on my Kindle TBR then definitely keep watching. Before diving into the video though, please do check that you are subscribed to my channel. I have found recently that over half of the people who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed, so please consider doing that if you do like my videos and you do watch them regularly. It really does mean the world to me and it also helps out my channel to grow as well. But without further ado, let's just dive into the video. I'm not going to give too much away, but this is what my library looks like. Like I said, I do have a few books on there. Some of them I have read, some of them I haven't, but I think what I'm going to do is just go from this way onwards and just work my way down and let you guys know which books I need to read. So the first book I'm going to talk about today is The Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter. This is a recent download for me. It is on Kindle Unlimited, and if you've been following my videos lately you'll know that I am slowly getting into thrillers. Karen Slaughter is an author I've heard a lot about, and so when I saw that this book was on Kindle Unlimited I decided to download it. I don't really know anything about this book to be honest with you, but it does just say on Goodreads, 2 girls are forced into the woods at gunpoint. One runs for her life, one is left behind. That is enough to sell me on this book. I don't really want to know more, and as soon as I'm in the mood for a fast-paced thriller, you can bet I will be reading this book. Next up, I have The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. This is a book that I've just heard amazing things about. I know it's one of Beth from Books Nest's favourite books, and so when I saw it for 99p on Kindle, I decided to pick it up. I believe that in this book we follow our main character Daniel, and he finds this book titled The Shadow of the Wind by a certain author. But when he sets out to find more of this author's works, he realises that there aren't any. Someone has been systematically destroying all of the books that this author has ever written, and it seems like Daniel's quest to find this author begins to open a door into one of Barcelona's darkest secrets. This is definitely one that's high priority for me. I really do want to get to it soon. I just feel like it's going to be the type of story that I fall in love with, and I feel like it is going to be one that does have a big impact on me. Next up we have The Crowns of Crossworld by D.E. Knight. And I feel really bad about this one because the author did reach out to me in November of 2020 asking if I wanted a review copy of this book on NetGalley. I accepted, but I still haven't read it, and to be honest I feel like it's gotten to the point now where too much time has passed, and so if I were to read it and write a review it would just look really bad. Saying that though, this is one that I am really interested in. It's just the fact that I have been prioritising other things and that's why I haven't really gotten around to it yet. All I know is that this is a fantasy middle grade book, but it does just say on Goodreads, The Crowns of Crossworld invites young readers to explore themes of stepping into their own magic, discovering their true selves, and battling evil head on. That does sound like such a fun book. I feel like I am going to love it once I pick it up, but unfortunately I still haven't gotten around to it yet. Next up we have The Package by Sebastian Fitzek. To be honest, this is one I genuinely know nothing about. It's another one that's on Kindle Unlimited, and I feel like I heard someone talk about it recently, which is why I decided to go and look for it. I have just had a look on Goodreads, but apparently this book doesn't have a proper page. I think there's only 4 reviews for it and there's not even an actual book cover up for it, so I have jumped onto Waterstones to give you guys the synopsis, and it does just say, Emma's the one that got away, the only survivor of a killer known in the tabloids as the hairdresser because of the trophies he takes from his victims. Or she thinks she was. The police aren't convinced, nor is her husband. She never even saw her tormentor properly, but now she recognises him in every man. Questioning her sanity, she gives up her job as a doctor in the local hospital and retreats from the world. It's better to stay at home, quiet, anonymous, safe. No one can hurt her here. And then it does just say as well, all she did was take a parcel for a neighbour. She has no idea what she's let into her home. So again, this is another thriller. The premise does sound really intriguing to me, but I'm not actually sure when I'll get round to it. I feel like I'll definitely prioritise The Good Daughter first, but if I still need a thriller kick then I can always move on to The Package. Next up we have Irreparable by Mark Gerardo. This is a true crime novel, and if you don't know, I'm absolutely fascinated by true crime. On my personal YouTube account, those are the only types of videos I will watch, and the case that this book is actually bringing light like to, is one that I have heard of many times. I don't really want to say too much about this book because I don't want to spoil it. Obviously, if I tell you guys about the case, then that is going to let you know what happens in this book. Of course, it's not a fiction work. It is non-fiction. It's an account of what actually occurred by one of the people involved. But in case you want to dive into it not really knowing anything, all I'll say is that it does involve a love triangle, and that does ultimately lead to someone being killed. Even though I'm so fascinated by true crime, I very rarely read true crime books. I do have a couple on my shelves, but again, it's just the fact that I don't prioritize them because they are non-fiction. It is definitely a goal of mine to read more of these types of books though, and I definitely feel like I will be incorporating them into my TBR soon. And so when I found this book, again on Kindle Unlimited, I just had to download it because this case is absolutely fascinating. Next up, we have Jade City by Elise. To be honest with you guys, this is another one that I know absolutely nothing about. All I know is that it's an adult fantasy book and that a lot of people rave about it. And so again, when I saw it for 99p on Kindle, I just had to buy it. It's one that I've had my eye on for a while. I believe that the physical book was actually on my Amazon wishlist. I have taken it off now because I have it on my Kindle, but I'm definitely the type of person that finds it easier to read chunky adult fantasy books on my Kindle. It's always the size of the books that intimidate me, and because of that I do find it hard to pick them up. On my Kindle though, I don't have to look at the page count. I can click it so that it doesn't pop up, and that definitely helps me get into the story. I'm not focusing on how much more I have left to read. I am just immersed in the story, and it definitely does help me to get reading. That is the case for the next book I'm going to talk about, and to be honest, I do actually have two books from the same series on my Kindle TBR, so I will just group them both together now. But those are books 2 and 3 in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. I have read The Final Empire. I read it about a year ago now, again on my Kindle, and I had the best time reading that book. For some reason though, I've never carried on with the rest of the series, and I'm kicking myself because, like I said, I absolutely loved the first one, but again, I think it's the fact that because I can't physically see them, I never end up picking them up. I have made it a mission this year to finish out the Mistborn trilogy though. I did love the first book like I mentioned, and I really do want to see how the series plays out. I'm not completely sure yet if I'll reread the first one too, just to put me back in that world, but for the sake of this video, it is only the second and third book that I have on my Kindle and that I haven't read. Next up, we have The Traitor's Blade by Sebastian de Castell. This is another book that I know nothing about. I downloaded it purely for the fact that Jade from JD Ray Reads raves about this series. I do actually have the Spellslinger series by Sebastian de Castell on my physical shelves. I'm currently up to book 4 in that series and I'm really enjoying it so far. That one is definitely more of a YA series, and I believe that the Greatcoat series, which The Traitor's Blade is part of, is a lot darker and it is classed as adult. This is one I definitely want to go into without really knowing anything. I don't want any sort of expectations put on me. I am trying not to start new series at the minute though, so I'm not actually sure when I will get around to this book, but hopefully I won't leave it too long. Next up, we have Bunny by Mona Awad. Again, this is one I know nothing about, but I have heard such amazing things about it that again, when I saw it on Kindle Unlimited, I just had to download it. Everyone that's read this book has said that it's the most confusing thing ever. You genuinely don't know what's going on for half of it, and that definitely intrigues me. The plot of this one definitely reminds me of Mean Girls. I'm not sure if that has anything to do with it, but from the synopsis alone, those are the vibes that I get. I think it's about a girl who goes to a new school and there's a group of girls that call themselves Bunny. She thinks it's a bit stupid at first, but as soon as she gets an invite to join them, she decides to go for it, and I feel like everything just unravels from there. Again, one I don't really want to know too much about before diving into it. I'm gonna have to be in a very specific mood to pick it up, but I'm so excited for it and also very scared. After that one, we have Sabriel by Garth Nix. Another book that's been on my radar for years but I've never actually picked up. This is the first book in Garth Nix's fantasy series, which is called The Old Kingdom, and I believe it follows our main character Sabriel as he goes to a boarding school to study magic. During his time at the boarding school though, Sabriel learns that his father has gone missing, and so he decides to go to the Old Kingdom to search for him. I honestly don't know why I haven't picked this book up yet. It definitely sounds like my type of thing. I love a magical school setting and I love a high stakes mystery as well, so this is definitely one that I do want to prioritize. The only issue though again is that it is the first book in a series, and I'm really trying to finish off the series that I have currently started, so I'm not too sure when I'll get to this one yet, but who knows, I might pick it up one day soon. Next up, I actually have a bind up of the 3 books in the Loom saga by Elise. I don't actually know the names of all the books, but I do know the first one is called The Alchemist of Loom, and this is another fantasy series about magic, but it does include dragons. Again, for this one, I don't want to know much more about it. I feel like this is a series that does have a lot of hype, and again, it's another one that I feel like I will really enjoy once I dive into it. After that one, we have Keeper of the Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. This was actually a middle grade monthly pick, and again, when I saw it on Kindle Unlimited, I decided to download it. Shortly after I downloaded it though, I did start hearing some mixed opinions on this book. A lot of people weren't gelling with it and they found it average at best, and so because of that, I've been very hesitant to dive in. This is another fantasy middle grade book, which again does sound like my type of thing. I am debating whether I should pick it up or not, so definitely let me know down in the comments if you think I would enjoy it or not. Like I said, it is on Kindle Unlimited for me, so it is technically a free book. book, I can just get rid of it if I don't want to read it anymore. But there is a small part of me that really does want to read this book and find out what this series is all about. Next up is Witch by Finbar Hawkins. I feel like this is one of the first books that I downloaded onto my Kindle. I haven't gotten to it yet because I think this will just be the perfect book for Halloween. I really don't know anything about this book, but as the title suggests, it's about witches. And on Goodreads it does just say, set in the 17th century, a breathtaking debut and a potential prize winner about the power of women, witchcraft, fury, revenge, and the ties that bind us. That just sounds brilliant to me. I'm definitely not going to get to it soon. Like I said, I do want to read it towards October. I am keeping it on my Kindle as a reminder for myself though, because as we've established, it's very easy to forget which books you have on your Kindle, but I definitely do want to make a point of reading this book during the spooky season, and I feel like it's just going to be a really good time. Next up we have Murder at the Manor by Catherine Coles. I do actually have a physical copy of one of these murder mystery books. I think it's called Murder in the Snow, and I bought it so I could read it for Christmas. Unfortunately, I never got around to doing that, so I'll definitely have to make that a priority this year. But I believe this is a murder mystery detective series, Murder at the Manor being the first book, and if you know anything about me, you'll know that I love a good murder mystery, and I've been trying really hard recently to find new murder mystery books from authors I've never heard from before. Not gonna lie to you guys, I hate reading the synopses of murder mystery books. I feel like they do tend to give stuff away, so I'm not gonna do that. All I know about this is that it's a murder mystery set in a manor in Yorkshire, and I am very intrigued to dive into it. I definitely feel like this is one I'm gonna pick up soon. I'm in such a murder mystery mood lately that I'm just devouring them at the minute, and this is definitely one that's high on my list. I'm sure you'll be pleased to know that we have finally come to the last book on my Kindle, and that one is Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Marillier. I did actually buy this whole series in paperback, but for some reason all of Juliette Marillier's books are mass market paperbacks and they arrived really badly damaged. This is an author I'm really intrigued by. I really do want to read her works, and so I decided that the easiest way for me to do that would be to get them on my Kindle. I really don't know anything about this book. I know it was a Myth Take pick a while back and that's the reason I bought it, and it's also one that Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction mentions quite a bit, and I trust Ashley's recommendations wholeheartedly, so I didn't really need to know much more about this book before picking it up. I feel like this is an adult fantasy book woven in Celtic mythology. I could be completely wrong, but I definitely get that type of vibe from it, and I feel like that is one of the elements that made me want to pick it up. I really do want to get to this book soon. I feel like it's one that I'm just going to fall in love with, but as we know, I never stick to my TBRs, and so who actually knows when I'll get around to it. Right, that is it for today's video, guys. I'm not sure how long it's going to be. I feel like I talked about some books more in depth than others, so I am very sorry about that. But all in all, I really hope you enjoyed seeing which books are on my Kindle. Please let me know down in the comments if you've read any of these, and if so, which ones I should prioritize. I'm definitely more intrigued by some than others. I am hoping I can get to all of them relatively soon. If you like this video, don't forget to click the like button, as well as the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. It truly does mean the world to me, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!